You're tuned into the Jersey Comic Krew. Today we are talking about Marvel and DC and their digital delays, their delays in general. The confusion is there. We're talking about it right now.
Yes, Marvel DC comic books, they have not gone full digital yet. So we wanted to bring this topic up again, talk a little bit about this. What does that mean for the comic book landscape, and what does that mean for you guys who read your comics every day, every week? For me, I'm surprised that they haven't gone full digital. I think they're still holding out that their distributors will be able to be clean enough to do this. I think they're still reserving hope that they'll be able to put out the hard copy material soon. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think so, but I think there's a lot of confusion and a lot of unknown with the big two. Like last week, DC came out and said, yeah, we're going digital. And then by like Friday or Saturday, they were like, nope, we're not. We're just putting out what we normally put digitally. I think they were helped a little bit. They have a series, like a 12-issue Max series that is continuing the Batman animated cartoon universe. Yeah. Which was planned to be digital first anyway, and then come out in your regular paper copy. So they had that come out digitally normally and a bunch of like back issues normally. Marvel came out and said they're not doing digitally this week, but that could change in the future. I'm still fully against going digital, like fully, because you're like we said before, you're killing the local comic shops. Yeah. A lot of these people it's going to be hard for them to recover from this anyway. But I don't think it helps when you have, your two big companies, right, that are supposed to set the standard. And then you have like Dynamite, Boom, IDW. Image is also kind of like, 2.5, 3, right? Yeah, they're the third pillar. But like, if you have all these companies, especially your big two, aren't setting a standard of like, okay, here's the plan, or even talking to each other, right? Like, this is a crazy, ridiculous effed up world we're in right now. Mm-hmm. No one gives a shit about the Marvel DC rivalry right now. If anything, they should be talking about doing a crossover to get people back into comics when this is all over. That'd be cool. Doing an amazing crossover like they did in the early 90s. But, like, I don't think the confusion is helping when you have things that are needed for business and things that are needed for, money, and you have people overhead saying, hey, we need this dotted line. How are you going to change it? And you have fans and comic book lovers that are working there kind of on the other side of like, if we do this, we are killing this industry as we know it. I think that's what it is. Like profitability wise, right? It kind of makes sense to go full digital, but I think they have this moral dilemma that they're in. Like, oh, do we make money or do we and kill businesses and ruin this friendship that we have, or do we kind of wait and see? But like you said, there's this back and forth going on, and they're also not prepared for this, right? Most comic book, let me not say that. A good amount of comic book people only get hard copy, right? They're not used to the digital. They don't have that. But there's also a section of that people who are older who are not as tech savvy, right? They just go to meet their regular weekly guy. They grab their books. They go home. The comic book landscape, as much as it is likely for them to go digital and people are able to, they're not set up for this, right? They can't just release everything full digital. Because one, the way a digital comic reads is much different from when you have it in your hands. And when they make comics for digital purposes, they have that in mind. So now they have to think, all right, do we just release it the regular way and kind of ruin some of the comic book integrity? Do we have to change everything? There's that aspect. There's also the aspect of putting it up on digital and increasing that workforce that works digital comics as a whole. Because right now, each branch has a small amount. Actually, I know a person in Marvel who does the digital for them. They work a small section, right? Mm-hmm. But to increase their workload from, let's say it's 5 books to 20 books a week, right? That's a whole lot more with that staff that's not powered up to do that, which means they would have to hire people, which they don't necessarily have the capital for during this time of crisis. Mm-hmm. So right now they are stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? I think what's best for them, I don't want to say to ride out the storm or put a pause on comics, because
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, that's what they're doing though, right? Like they put a pause right now. Like this is the first time.
But this is a week.
Well, yeah, I know it's a week, but it's also the first time new comics haven't come out in like almost 80 years, which is insane. You're talking about something that has been a consistency. You know, there's 52 weeks in a year, 80 years. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And an industry that's gone through
at least 100
Great Depression and yeah, at least. So you're talking about an industry that's gone through 9 or 10 massive historical landmark things. Whether it's World War One, Two, well not one, two, Nam, Great Depression, 9/11, recession, all this stuff. And that's just off the top of the dome about things that it somehow withstood. I don't know what the full answer is. I don't think they're going to make the money they think or they're hoping with digital. I think the true fans, the ones I see at Comic-Cons all over the place, because if you go to Comic-Con, if you don't go to Comic-Con, you see a lot of the same people everywhere. Yeah. And those are the fans that you could tell are real fans because they're driving to different locations and they're driving up and down the coast and they're going different places. Those fans are not buying digital. They're not in it for the digital. And that's a lot of fans. And yes, there is an older generation. Like, I've actually seen older guys pull out a checkbook to pay for comics. I've seen people at a register write out a check and hand it over.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
To pay for their comic books for and
here's
they're not even
got a check, young man.
Yeah, and he's even said, wait till Friday to cash this. Like it's been like a check.
Grandpa Murray.
Yeah, like there are some dudes who are still doing that. And there's some people who are like me who are, have the collector bug and have the completionist bug and have the old school real bug and also I don't like reading normally on a computer. I do have
it's different. I like it, but it's not like and you guys know I do digital. Like I like digital, but it's nowhere near the same when you're reading hard copy. Like I still prefer the hard copies, right? Like the new comic book smell. It's like you love it.
I also love the old comic book smell.
I wish they made a candle out of that. That's something.
I want body wash.
Yankee Candle. You better do something. Get that old comic book smell. Just extract that.
The best. Open one of those old books from the 60s and 70s and just the smell of history.
I guess to sum this up, guys, ultimately, what does this mean that Marvel and DC have not gone full digital? That means there's still time. They're still trying to figure out the best answer for their individual business and for the community as a whole. In the grand scheme of things, yes, this is probably the lower on the priority. Like they're more worried about the movies and TV shows because they make a lot more money from that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Which we all get. But like you said, this is a staple to the community. For the fans, for pop culture, it's something that hasn't happened ever. And when we know more, we're going to let you know more. But this is definitely something that piques our interest.
And really quick before we move on, I have a question for you too.
I'm ready.
Like, what if the distribution system was different, right? Like, what if, Diamond did its, diligence, they had their employees 6 feet apart, gloved, masked, hooded, E.T. hazmat suit, and it went straight to the distributor and, your local comic store had to basically hop in a van and deliver comics door to door instead of opening a store for people to come in. That seems crazy. Especially in like a New York City where those guys are not using cars, they're probably hopping on the subway to go to work and back.
The issue with that, like in small towns, why don't we just do that? A lot of small comic book stores are doing that, right? Which is great. I think it's amazing. They're trying to keep the community together. My issue with that, it's too many moving parts, right? So Marvel and DC, that's one entity, has to trust Diamond Comics, that's entity 2, to get local comic book stores and entity counts, right? There's so many. Each individual store has to agree with that. I think there's too many ropes to cross to make that a viable option.
Yeah.
In theory and paper, does that sound cool? I like that. Yeah. The other alternative that me and you, I forgot about this, that we both haven't talked about is direct consumer.
Yes.
Buy directly from Marvel and DC Image and get it shipped to your house. You cut out the middleman.
Which destroys Diamond.
Destroys them. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
They're developing a way to pretty much create a business deal with the local comic book stores to that, like, make them the buyer and seller. Hey, I have these amount of people. They want it. I put the order in for it. I still get my commission check, if you will. And then Diamond's like, okay, cool. We're going to just send it out to mail to people. That's the only way I could think that could happen. But to get that on a level where every comic book store agrees to that and is okay with that might be something that's a little troublesome, right? Because there's too many different parties, too many individuals.
It would also cut out. It would cut out the local comic stores, right?
No, I mean, like, the local comic store will put in the order, right? Okay. So they would get their commission, right? Like, they're like, all right, this store orders this many people. These are the addresses. You send it out to them. Cool. They still get their cut. But then, like, on a business side, they're like, why am I doing that? Why am I giving you money? Because I don't have to. Because we're struggling too.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough because if Marvel and DC ever decided to go that route and be the direct distributor, they could literally cut out everybody. Just say, we're going to, build our own manufacturer and almost treat it like Amazon or eBay, right? Like, you put your order in online and they will send you all of your books directly.
I mean, like, the other thing is, like, then, like, oh, what happens to small, local-owned comic book stores? They could get evaporated, and then it creates individual Marvel, DC comic book stores. You go to their store, they sell the stuff, or you can get on their website. Like, they'll have the rare books there and stuff like that. Like, it'll change from, like, multiple individual organizations under one all-house umbrella, which, like, sounds cool in theory, right? It's streamlined, it's easy, one-stop shop. I know Marvel, like, this is the same thing. But you miss that, like, local small business feel, right? Like, the guy would take off $50 for a book because he knows you're struggling and he'll deal with it. That might not happen in a Marvel thing with, like, a big corporation running it.
Yeah, no, that
not
wouldn't.
That same kind of feel. Even if those people, even if your same local comic book store shop, same thing, just under Marvel management, they won't be able to operate the same way. Yeah. They have to sell certain things and do certain things. They might not have game nights and all this other stuff to make your local comic book store special. So there's a lot of apprehension we have on this topic, and we're going to keep you updated as we know more. Okay, all right. I thought you were going to say something, Chris.
Oh, I thought you ended it to go into
no, that's fine. We can end it there. That was a good place.
No, that sounded like a good end, so I was like, yeah.
Now, speaking of comic books, we want to do a comic book breakdown for you guys